I really got into the idea of mentorship when I joined Toastmasters, because part of the Toastmasters journey is about when you join a club, you get assigned a mentor. The first mentor you get assigned when you join Toastmasters is someone who will support you through your first 3 speech projects so that you can gain the confidence, and if you have any questions around how to use the website to schedule in your talks and anything else that's required, any questions you have, that's the first mentor you get at Toastmasters. But my experience with mentors goes back further than that. And so my first mentor, and I'm going to talk about three mentors I've had so far, and my first mentor is a man who lived 2,400 years ago, and he's a man that most of you have probably not heard of. His name was Nehemiah. Now, Nehemiah was a cupbearer to a king, and what that means is basically he was a food taster. So if the king's food had been poisoned or his drink had been poisoned, it would be Nehemiah that would die, not the king. As a result, this is the person in this position, like Nehemiah, is highly trusted, very, very trustworthy job. Anyway, Nehemiah was a Jew, and this is in the time that the Jews had been taken captive, and previously there'd been a group of Jews that had returned to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, but at this stage the walls of Jerusalem were still had been like knocked down, and so as a result of that, there was danger of being attacked again, and so Nehemiah went to the king and said, "Can I please get your permission to go and rebuild this wall?" And so the king asked him a bunch of questions, and because Nehemiah was such a great leader, he had the answers to those questions prepared. He had anticipated what the king would need, and he had his answers there. And when the king said, "How long will you be?" he said, "I'll be this long." And when the king said, "Okay, I can do that," then Nehemiah added, "Oh, but by the way, can you also please give me letters to get past the governors and any of the administrative people I'm going to pass through on the way to let them know that I have your support." And then once Nehemiah got to Jerusalem and was involved in rebuilding the wall, just everything about him just exemplified perfect leader. And so he was very, very practical and just very, very detailed, everything you needed from a big picture view to the execution level. Nehemiah was over the top of it all. And so when I was 15 and first discovered Nehemiah as a leader, he is the mentor who first mentored me in leadership, and actually makes the point here that you can actually learn from mentors you've never met through books. And I'm going to mention books just to annoy certain people in the audience. No, I'm kidding. But you can learn from getting mentored through books. Now, my second mentor that I had was somebody who's appropriate for tonight's topic, because tonight's topic is all about habits. And the author I'm talking about, another author whose book I read, this is Stephen Covey, Dr. Stephen R. Covey, who is the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, while Dr. Covey is a doctor, just to clarify, he is not a medical doctor or anything of that sort. His doctorate is actually in divinity. I eventually found that out. And while I first experienced Dr. Covey in a book, I did also get to visit with him once in person when he spoke just up the road here in Melbourne. Actually, no.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
When he actually spoke in the building that's actually right next to my current apartment building, many years ago now, because he died in 2012. But I got to go and hear him speak, and then I got to speak to him afterward. And he had a massive, massive impact on me, a lasting effect, you could say. I'm not taking my shirt off, but I actually have a tattoo of the old Covey Leadership Center logo on my left shoulder there. So you can, just imagine there's like a tattoo of a compass there. And I will spare you the actual visual of actually seeing it. But what Dr. Covey really taught me, while it was about leadership as well, but what he really taught me about was integrity. This was a man who was all about integrity, the sense of wholeness, and the sense of being completely aligned and congruent with the principles that are important to you and the values you hold dear. And now we come to my third and final mentor, and this is one of my current mentors, and he is also a doctor, and this time he is a medical related doctor. He's a doctor of chiropractic, and that is Dr. John F. Demartini. And Dr. Demartini has, what I've learned from Dr. Demartini, more than anything else, has been wisdom. And by wisdom, I'm talking about applied knowledge or knowledge demonstrated in action, because there's no point to knowledge if you don't take action as a result of what you've learned. And if you don't take action as a result of what you've learned, you don't truly learn it. So as I come to close, I've had 3 mentors who have had a great big impact in my life. I've had Nehemiah, who taught me leadership. I've had Dr. Covey, who taught me integrity, and Dr. Demartini, who taught me wisdom. And of course, through the Toastmasters journey, I'm one of the people in the club who's available to be a mentor to new members when they're joining. So I look forward to supporting you on your journey.